right, Rumple. How you doing, Rumple? Hope everybody's doing good. I'm showing 10 people, 4 thumbs up. Yeah, Rumple says I'm the first. Yes, he is. I ain't even give myself a thumbs up yet. There we go. Let's see. Rumple says Z. Yeah, yeah, Z. First. Justin said, get off that phone, old man. I know what you mean. You better be driving. Lordy, I'm about to lose my voice. Let's see. 14 people, 5 thumbs up. Hit the like button, please. Let's see. Rumple says, how you been? I missed out on the fried bird a few days ago. Turkey, was it? Yes, it was turkey. I've been doing good. First time we've ever deep fried a turkey. It was very good. I don't eat a lot of turkey, so we had a lot left over, but it was good. Beth said, hello, everyone. Scott said, what's up, brother? Hello, Beth, and hello, Scott. I'm doing well. Hope you are. Okay, am I coming through pretty good? I had hit mute trying to do something. Everybody can hear me pretty good today? Tonight? Whatever? Let's see. Let's see. Scott said, good here, brother. Good. That means y'all can hear me pretty good. I want y'all to know, if you don't, it's cold. We had an event to go to today. It was very interesting. Randy and I did not shoot. I wasn't really in the mood for it, and Randy really didn't need to be shooting the gun while he was, healing and everything. So Justin shot my 12 gauge, and he done real good. Yeah, last year was mine and Randy's first time ever shooting like that, shooting pheasant, and Justin actually killed 3. So it was real good. And I killed 1 last year, and Randy had 0. So Justin was very happy that he was able to beat Randy. But we had a good day. See, Rumble says they shooting range or like those skeet shoots. Well, it's like a cabin. It's they got a big old stand right in the middle, way up in the air, and those pheasants are let out of the thing, and they fly around, and you got 10 shooting spots, and it's like a shooting range, but it was where the birds are flying out and you're shooting them. I've never really been to a gun range or where they shoot skeet, so it's kind of hard for me to tell you, but. Rumble says, oh, hunting. Well, I guess, but like I said, I don't think it's really hunting when they're releasing them out of a cage. And I found out last year that they release them and it takes off. And if they live through all the shots that's being shot, they basically go right back to that and they catch the same bird, put it right back in the cage, and it tries it again. So it's not really hunting to me. Carlos said, what's up, y'all? Pops, hello. Scott said, no dogs. Dogs were there to retrieve. They had dogs everywhere. About 6 different dogs that would go retrieve the birds and bring them back to their owners. Now, we didn't keep any of the birds. They have them there. They skin them and everything. And we could have went up there and got some and brought them back. But we really didn't eat them, so we didn't get any. But they were there for people to take home, and they could defeather them, clean them, and everything. All you got to do is go home and cook them. So, but we didn't. Oh, I told Randy we probably should have and tried to deep fry one, but we wasn't going to do it. Rumple said, big boys, hello. Jane said, hello, folks. Hello, Jane. Carlos said, what's up, Rumple? Jane said, hi, Pops. Hello, Jane. Carlos said, hello, Jane. Jane said, hi, Rumple. Jane said, hello. Hey, Carlo. Scott said, any grouse? No. Just the pheasants. Rumble says, oh, it's like shooting in a fishing barrel then. One day or another going to get shot. Yes, one way or another, those birds are dying. It might not be the first shot, but it will be on the next one. They're going to go. Jane said, hi, Scott. Rumble said, Jane, hello. Scott said, good evening, everyone. I'm surprised Peter's not all over him for doing that. That don't seem like a much of, that's about like going hunting and people are hunting deer in a fence. That to me just ain't hunting, but I don't do it. So, Scott said, good evening, everyone. Jane said, Pops, those birds are good to smoke. Yeah, I've never tried that either. That would have been cool. Grandma said, hi, Pops, and hi, Jane. Hello, Grandma. Carlos said, hello, Grandma. Rumple said, Grandma, hello. Jane said, it's not much of a sport. I agree, 100%. I wouldn't pay to do it, I can tell you that. It's part of the tire people that we buy tires from. They put it on. We go over there. We go through their little seminar of how great they are and why we should be doing what they say. And then they feed us, and then we go shoot. That's pretty much the day. Grandma said, hi, Southern. FC25 says, I have a question. Do you think discrimination someone based on their age is in younger people is really bad, or should it happen? I don't think anybody should discriminate against anybody, period. End of story. Discrimination should not be against anything. I don't like it. I don't like singling out people, for any kind of thing. We're all human. Scott said, quite a few grouse there. I don't know what that is either, but Grandma said, hi, Scott, and hi, Rumple. Scott said, good evening, everyone. Grandma said, hi, Big Boy Toys. OG says, thing one. Yeah, thing two had to go home and get his kids. Madison's got to work tonight, and Justin went on home. For some reason, I think Justin enjoyed himself, but when he got in the truck, we started coming in, his nose started bleeding real bad, and he got it to quit, but he slept the bigger part of the way back. It's about 2.5 hour drive, and he went on home too, so I'm here by myself. Jane said, it makes me mad when the big game hunters go to Africa to hunt lion or whatever, and they are pretty much hand-fed their prey. I don't think that's fair either, Jane. To me, they quit letting you do the circus because they said it was bad, but they'll let you go out there and raise a big old lion in a cage and let somebody go shoot it. Yeah, the more you pay, the more guaranteed. I don't think that's hunting at all. I agree with you. Carlos said, what's up, OG? Jane said, aloha, Grandma. Rumple said, tree stands or deer stands. That's what they call as per Sir Google. Oh, okay. Jane said, Grandma, we were all about to have a heart attack last night. I know, right? I was right on the edge of my seat. Grandma said, hi, OG. I was trying to say something, but Grandma kept avoiding my my statement. So I just stopped. I was nervous. FC says, what about in schools if a teacher can? Should a young people for their mistakes, should young people be able to shout at teachers for their mistakes? I do not. I think it's disrespectful for a child to holler at a teacher. I don't think that it should be tolerated whatsoever. The teacher should be disciplined for their mistakes, just like everybody else. But it's not the child's. It's not the child's position to holler at the teacher. Grandma said, hi, FC25. Rumble said, Jane, oh yeah, there was the dentist a couple recently who shot a lion that way. FC says, hi, Grandma. OG says, BBT. OG said, Miss Yvette. Jane said, FC, I wouldn't be okay to shout at the teacher. We are supposed to show respect. Exactly. if a child is allowed to shout back, there's no, I guess, dominance, because the child and the teacher are. It's not supposed to be that way. No, it's the same way with a parent. Grandma said, I was so excited. We all were. Daniel said, Happy Friday. Hey, everyone. Jane said, the teacher should not shout at the child. Are you right about that, too? Grandma said, I'm sorry, Pops. What did you say? I kept saying it needed gas. I was scared that he was going to keep on shooting that ether in there. And ether's not good on a motor. You can shoot that gas in there with a gas bottle, and it's not as near bad on that motor as that ether. That ether is not good on anything to keep shooting in like that. Let's see. FC said, and there you go, age discrimination. How you get that? Child is a child. There is a no, there's not age discrimination. That is a child. The child is there to learn. We're not talking about shouting at each other anyway, because it was also said that the teacher shouldn't shout either. Grandma said, or ask. Jane says, hi, Daniel. See, Jane is right. Jane, Grandma, we all are excited, even more excited that the gas was so close to exhaust. Yeah, we were scared to death that we was going to actually watch that thing catch on fire. Grandma said the comments was going fast. I was trying to keep up. Believe me, I understand. Scott said respect. Exactly. Grandma said, hi, Daniel. Carlos says, wow, what an interesting topic, age discrimination. I know that's kind of come out of nowhere, but okay. Jane said, well, and we talk about anything, just about anything. That's not in the guidelines of what we say we don't talk about, so it was a fair question. Jane said, no, it's not age discrimination. We should show respect to our teachers, our bosses at work, etc. Exactly. If you don't agree to it, don't take that class or don't have that job. Find another one. That don't mean the teacher's right or the boss is right, but there's levels that has to be followed. Scott said, respect elders. Yeah, I grew my entire life, grew up. I was told respect elders because you get one day you'll be the elder and people will respect you. It's a damn lie, because now I've got older and the young people come in and try to think they rule the world and don't want to show respect to the elders. When I was growing up, elders didn't put up with this disrespect like they do now. FC said it's age discrimination if a child cannot shout at an adult or be an adult can so shout at a child. That is not age discrimination. That is not. A child should not be disrespectful to an adult, period. That's trying to take words and twist them. I'm not going to get into a debate over that either. Appreciate the comment and everything, but that's not age discrimination. You're trying to take a word and cause an argument out of it. That's BS. Grandma saw Pops. I told him about the people that was saying he needed fuel, but he was so happy that he was ignoring me. We all get it. Everybody was so happy. We was really wanting to hear that thing fire and go. And it fired. It did. And I believe that the battery wouldn't have went bad if he would have thrown some gas to it. That motor would have run last night. But ether evaporates so fast, and from the time he was spraying it and walking off, that evaporate is happening, and there's not like gas going in. And it's kind of hard to explain, but when you shoot gas in, it don't evaporate near as fast as starting fluid. And but Grandma said, thank you, everyone that was there. Yes, we were trying to send everybody. Our live went down to like 8 or 9 people. We even had it on ours, showing y'all's on ours. So people that was on ours was also watching yours through our screen. Woogie said, good evening. Hope you've had a great week from Northern Ireland. Woogie, we hope you've had a great week too. Thank you. Grandma said, God bless you all. Much love. Grandma said, hi, Wookie. Wookie said, hey, oh. Jane said, hi, Wookie. FC said, an adult should not be disrespectful for a child. So that is the age discrimination. I'm not trying to pick an argument with you, but the whole government and school systems. And agree. See, this is what I'm trying to say. Twice you've been told that a teacher should not shout at a child either. It's like you didn't hear that part. I'll say it again. The teacher should not be shouting at the child, and the child should not be shouting at the teacher. There shouldn't be any shouting whatsoever. You're there to learn. If it comes to the shouting, they need to be separated. The kids should not be in that class, or it's the same way about a job. That's not discrimination. That is part of the way it goes, and it should not be happening, period. Grandma said, and on top of all that, I wasn't feeling good at all, but sick or not, I was not going to mess with it for the world. And that's the way we all felt, Grandma. We were all going to be there for him. Jane said, FC, how old are you? Freedom says, good evening, Randy. Hello, Freedoms. FC said, I'm 12 years old. There's the problem. You are 12, and that is awesome. But and that was a heck of a question. But that's not age discrimination. See, you're 12. You have no idea what the world's even holding yet. Scott said, I feel I missed something. Daryl says, you can have a silent fart or a loud fart when there's a turd option. Jane said, I'm disheartened with the lack of respect that our kids show towards our adults. Exactly, that's what I've just said. Daryl said, hi all. Hello, Daryl. Grandma said, freedom. Jane said, freedom. Jane said, Daryl. Grandma said, Mac. And Rumpel said, Metal Art Customs. Daryl said, Grandma, Jane, and Rumpel. Carlos said, sup, Mac. Freedom says, hi, Grandma. And Jane, God bless you. FC says, I got that nobody should be shouting, but children can't shout at teachers, but teachers can shout at children. Again, you're not listening. It's not right. Either way you go, the teacher should not be shouting at the kids. That needs to stop. If that's happening, it needs to go to the principal, and the principal needs to handle it. It don't go that way either. But there's a reason that both of them shouting. Something's going on. We're not getting the whole story here. Carlos said, big. Grandma says, again, thank you all. Grandma says, amen, freedom. God bless you as well. Jane said, FC, you'll figure it out, but in the meantime, you need to show respect. You'll get further with the teacher if you show them respect. That's right, and it's not your place at 12. That's just like your parent telling the kid to do something. There's a reason they want them to do something, and you as in 12 might not understand that. And you think the parent or the teacher is wrong. But there should not be any shouting. I agree with you. Let's see. C says, Jane, not all kids are disrespectful, and adults like I'm not disrespectful to adults. And you're not. And you're not being disrespectful, but you're not listening to what we're trying to tell you at this very point. And it's because, and please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not here to tell you right or wrong because I have no idea what your circumstance is. But you're not listening. You've got your mind made up. You're not open to understand what we're trying to say. So automatically we are wrong. You've said it's child discrimination, and you got it in your mind. And no matter what we say, that's what you're going to think. Let's see. Wookie says, at 12, the BE. Grandma said, yep. Jane said, teachers should not be shouting, but if the teacher is shouting, then there must have been punished into that situation, pushed into that situation. That's what I just said. There's a reason. There's something here that he's not telling us that has happened. He's only given the facts that he's wanting to show out. There is something that has went on that's made him think of this. And we won't get all the information. Freedom says, hi, Metal, make that 66 man build it. Yes, 66. Rumble says, I'm just lurking because if shouts at elders back in the days, we would get treatment. It's still in trauma. Yes, exactly. My mom would tell me, that she would knock me halfway across the room. And believe me, I thought my mom might be lying and she knocked me all the way across the room. So I didn't push it. And it wasn't child discrimination. It was I was damn listening. I mean, Jane said, FC, have you ever heard that you get more flies with honey than vinegar? Well, I haven't vinegar, but I've... let's see. Wiki says, at 12, there are a lot of pages to turn over. At 53, we are still learning and still turning over the pages. Exactly. Nobody is perfect. That's what I want somebody to understand. Just because you're an adult don't mean you're not going to make mistakes. You can make them. Everybody's going to make them. It's how we handle it. FC's, I am listening, but even though the teachers shouldn't shout at a child, they do, and they shouldn't. Like I said, if that's going on, it needs to be handled up above. It's not the child's. It's not the child's to do the shouting back. That's not the way. That's not the way the system's set up. That's not the way it works. Jane says 618 with 18 likes. Cool. I'm showing 25 people and 19 thumbs up. That's awesome. Thank y'all. FC, two wrongs don't make it right. So if a child is misbehaving, shouting from a teacher doesn't make it right. If a child is misbehaving, shouting from a teacher doesn't make it right. All right, at this point, what would you think that the teacher's supposed to do? Just sit down and let the child misbehave? Well, how do you think that child needs to be handled? Grandma said, I showed 19. I'm showing 20 right now. Jane said, Grandma, 619 with 19 likes. Lol. Rebel says, I got a concussion today. Please pray for me. We will, Rebel. Everybody say a prayer for Rebel there. The concussions are not a good thing to have. I know that firsthand. Randy's had way too many of them. Freedom said, Wookie, don't push them old ones back in the day. They were the real deal. Grandma says, hi, Rebel. Wookie says, another like for you, mate. Thank you. Grandma said, prayers for you, Rebel, for prayers your way, Rebel. Jane said, Rebel, how did you get the concussion? Rebel said, if the teacher is shouting that means you made a mistake. You ignored teacher advice to correct that mistake. There's a reason/behavior which aggravated the teacher. Exactly. Now, again, it shouldn't be we don't get into shouting matches. Now, again, when my kids do something wrong, y'all seen that, the night before last. Even though Randy's full grown, Randy and I got into a situation and the shouting was going on. It was disrespectful towards me, but it was also disrespectful the other way too. Shouting's not the way things are handled. FC said, I think children in every school should protest to get our point across that our voices are always silenced, and your voices need to be silenced. You're a child. You are a child until you get adult and you can pull your weight in this world. You are a child. You are to do as you're told. As long as it's not to cause you harm or to do something that is not respectful. You don't need to be doing things that is not appropriate. Let's say it that way. But you as a child are to listen until you're 18, full grown, until you're able to pull your weight in this world. You're still a child. If you're over 18 and you're not pulling your weight, you're still a child. So the protest. To me, if a child goes to protest, the parents need to beat their ass. End of story. Children don't protest. They have to. They don't need to be mistreated, but at the same time, they don't need to be doing anything out of the way. No. Jane said, hey, Reaper. FC said, what if the teacher makes a mistake? Can we shout at them? No. Everybody makes mistakes. It is handled. You, as the child, go tell your parent or the principal or however, and they get to the bottom of it. It's not the child's responsibility to correct an adult. Grandma said, hi, Reaper. Jane said, FC, I'm afraid if they protest, they will have a negative effect. It will have a negative effect. Because you can, as a child, if you come up and say you're not doing something, then that's what everybody's just going to do. We're going to have no kind of, this world's going to shit because of stuff like this. A child don't need to be disrespected as far as anything unsafe and stuff like that, or but no. Jane said, FC, you should never shout at a teacher. FC, wow, you just said our voices must be silent because we are children. Ladies and gentlemen, age discrimination. Exactly. That's exactly what you were trying to do. You're trying to cause a problem. I did not say you should be silenced. I said you do not protest. You are a child. End of story. Ash says, okay. Jane said, FC, do you think it's okay to shout at your parents? Child discrimination. That's right. Carlo says, can we please change the topic? Sounds like a good idea, Carlo. Scott said, let's talk about pheasants again. Yeah, had a good day. Jane said, Carlo, what do you want to talk about? Grandma says, thank you, Carlo. Wookie said, boundaries are put in place by adults because children don't know what they are naturally. It is part of growth. But that's not what he come on here to do. He come on here to try to get me to say that so he could do that very thing. That's the reason he typed it out the way he did. I'm not going to get into that part. Rumpel said, let's talk conspiracy. Anyone with a good conspiracy, let's don't talk conspiracy. Jane says, no, I don't want to talk about fishes in a barrel. Ash said, yummy, batteries. There we go. Let's talk about eating batteries. Carlos said, not this BS, Jane. Scott said, good evening, all. Jane said, hello, hi, Scott. Reaper said, want to talk about my work day today? It sucked bad. Reaper, tell us about your day, and please don't tell us something bad happened to you or your co-workers again. We need some positive stuff coming from you. Carlos said, yep, Grandma, I'm glad you agree. FC, most children in the UK will agree with me, so why should I think you are right? You shouldn't think I'm right at all. You shouldn't. Do whatever you think you need to do. You're not my child. I know what I'd do if you were my child, but you're just trying to argue and try to get me to say something, so I'm done with this conversation. Grandma said, hi, Scott. Jane said, okay, so I want to say I have almost all of my presents wrapped. Jane said, Reaper, how is Charles? Beth said, FC, I think you need to find a different room to chat in. Jane said, hi, Beth. Beth said, this live is about positive and happy things, not argument and negative topics. I said, yummy, tasty, delicious. Sleep token. Grandma said, I just don't want to see Pops upset again and lose the live. I'm trying my best not to, Grandma. Like I said, it's no sense in it. I make my mistakes. Again, just like I said, adults make mistakes too. Muhammad was waving several times. Thank you. Grandma says, hi, Beth. Chase said, Ash, what is a sleep token? Carlos said, hello, Beth. 23 people in here, 24 likes. Thank y'all very much. And how long have we been on here now? 31 minutes. That's awesome. Thank y'all very much. James, Olivia said, pops with hearts and crying. Don't be crying. Muhammad said, peace, peace. Ash said, offended Jane. Oh. Ahmad said, hi, man. Hello, Amen. Grandma said, hi, Olivia. Jane said, hi, Muhammad. Reaper said, well, I paid for everyone's lunch today. I took them paintballing about 30 minutes ago, and that's why it sucked. I lost. Oh, man, you're good. Losing ain't everything. Everybody can't win all the time. Olivia says, make it 25. Carlos says, hello, beautiful Olivia. Yeah, showing 28 now. Thank y'all. Jane said, hi, Olivia. Scott said, supporter, brother. Thank you, Scott. Olivia said, hey, Jane. Jane said, hey, Mad. Wookie said, Randy for governor. Grandma says, how are you doing, sweetie? Olivia said, game. Ash says, how are you, Jane? Free says, good evening, darling. Hello. Olivia said, hi there. Olivia's got 5 hearts. Sorry about that. Freedom says, off the subject, but go try Deanna restaurant in Midland, North Carolina. Ash has got a, looks like a smiley face. Or, ooh. Admin says, Corvette or Mustang? I'm going to go with Corvette. I like Mustangs. I'm just not a Ford guy. Jane said, Ash, do you have any idea how old I am? Ash says, Mustang. Ash says, get out. Get out. Jane said, hi, she's. Ash says, no. I see where you got she. I said free. Oh, no. We're not doing that. Now, I'm going to tell you this, she, free, whatever. Here's one way or the other. You can talk respectfully, or you can find another live. We're not talking about that whatsoever, okay? I appreciate it. All right, Grandma said, hey, Ahmed. Olivia said, I'm still fighting sleep, Grandma, but I'm winning. I'm good. Mike said, I took Henry to the shop today and he wouldn't turn a tap. He just sat around and watched me be lazy. Yeah, lazy hippo. That's what we paid him to do, to sit there. What you don't know is there's a recorder inside. Records everything you do. We got you here. We can hear what you say. I'm joking. Jane said, Mustang. Jane said, Ash. I babysit Jesus. Olivia said, I picked a Mustang because I'm not a cheap car fan. She said, I'm just 19. Okay. Ash says, I haven't had breakfast over a week. Jesus. Grandma said, wow, I hope you feel better soon, Mama. Ash says, huh? Wookie said, classic challenger. This is my last warning to you. You say something like that again, I'm going to remove you from the channel. So this not in here doing it. We're not doing that. Grandma said, hi, she. Jane said, sorry, Pops, I didn't have all messages on. That's fine. I was actually clicking on it to take it away, but that's fine. Ash said, Jane, how? Long said, is it going to be a snitch too? Yeah. No. Grandma said, hi, Mike. Olivia said, I'm better, Grandma. Thank you. Rumpel said, Long Wrench, hello. Long says, Mike says, hello, Grandma. Carlos said, what's up, Mike? Grandma said, you're very welcome. Olivia says, can't you tell I'm feeling hyper? Lowell, Paul said, hi. Hello, Paul. Hugh said, hello, Randy. Olivia, hello, Hugh. Jane says, hi, Paul. Grandma says, hi, Paul. And hi, hello, Livy. Olivia said, hey, Hugh. Rumpel said, hello, Hugh, hello. Jane says, hi, Hugh. Reaper says, Annabelle says, hi. Everybody say hi to Annabelle. Hugh said, hello, Jane and Rumpel. Grandma said, hi, babe. Jane says, hi, Annabelle. Carlos said, what's up, Hugh? Mike says, hi, Rumpel, Carlo, Jane, and Olivia. Hugh says, hello, Paul, and hello, Mike. Jane said, hi, Mike. Wookie said, best road movie. There's a lot of movies I like. I can't think of the name of it now, where the old trucker chases down that car, and it's an old movie. I can't think of the name of it now, but I like a bunch of different movies. It's hard to pick just one. Mike says, hi, Hugh. Hugh says, Carlo. Grandma says, Annabelle. Hugh says, hello, Annabelle. Hugh says, hey, Wookie. Scott says, hello. Ash says, Jane, Sleep Token is a culture band that met up in the 2016 in London. They worship called Sleep, and they are metal. James said Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, that's another good one. I didn't even think about that. You said Jeepers Creepers. Is that the name of the movie? Wookie said Duel. Scott said Duel? Question mark. Libby said so glad. So guys, updated Shelby. She did have a grease crankshaft. So he took it out and gave me it. I may or may not have hit for taking the last one. Okay, Hugh said, hello, Scott. Beth says, Brandy, I think the movie you're talking about is Duel with Dennis Weaver. Ash says, Slay. Jane says, Ash, I'm 67 years old and I don't do country bands. Ash says, 42. Oh, she said 67, talking about Jane's age, sorry. Beth said I should have said Randy, not Brandy. Hello. Okay. Reaper said, Charles, say hello as well. Me and him are trying to fix that Chevy. Well, hello, Charles. You says, horror, old truck chasing female and male in a old car. I thought the one I'm talking about, I thought the guy was by himself, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Hugh says, hello, Reaper. Scott said, I've got wrinkles, 67 years old. Ash says, Wheezy. Hugh says, hello, Ash. Ash says, hi, Grand. Mike says, American Graffiti is on for free to watch currently on TV. Cool. Jane said, Lowell, I wished I was 42. Hugh said, hello, Charles. Somebody noted, I think it's 99 cents a pound or whatever. Thank you very much. Every little bit helps. First sauce 5. Thank you very. Every little bit helps. I do appreciate it. Levi said hi. Let's see. Levi said Smoking the Bandit, Dukes of Hazzard, and Knight Rider. Yeah, they were all good. Ash says, Jay said, Scott, I have wrinkles that old too. You said there are 3 parts. Okay. Grandma said, hi, Levi. Ash has got skulls. Hugh says, hello, Levi. Let's see. Grandma said, hi, Charles. Levi says, do you think U.S. should withdraw his troops from Europe? I can't answer that because I have no idea why the troops are even in Europe. I don't keep up with the stuff. So, like I said, I don't talk politics and I don't really get into what's going on. Good, bad, or indifferent, I have no idea. Jane said, hi, Fursal. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you again. You said no. Ash says, I'm talking to living zombies, oh Lord. Ash said, yes, Mad Max, said Olivia. Jane said, Olivia, we don't do politics. She says, Talina, my name, Talina. Okay, if that's right, Talina, I'll try to remember that. There's a lot of names. I will try to remember it, though. Wookie said Duel was Steven Spielberg's first movie. Livy said, hold on a minute. Let me do this right here. I know I will forget it, so stupid pen. Nothing works right in the code. So I won't. All right, let me try to remember that. All right. Where am I at? You said, can I add that to the group too? Since it's about cars, sure. Jane said, Ash, I'm driving zombies for sure. Hugh said, Mad Max was a lot of trucks chasing, yeah. Hugh said, and cars. Jane said, hi, Talina, welcome. Scott said, same, Jane. Carlos says, it's going to be 38 Celsius here today, and tomorrow it's going to be 40. Woo! Wookie said, Vanishing Point was a classic. It might have been, I remember that movie, I think. Seemed like I liked it. Grandma said, hi, I believe that's Talina is what she's saying. Talina said, hi, at Jane. Ash says, the fact that you're like, yeah, I am. Skull. Grandma said, hi, Mad Max. Hugh says, hello, Talina. Olivia says, no, the original with the Interceptors and the Ford Falcons. Hugh says, including me, lol. Grandma says, hi, Talina. Hugh says, yeah, great movie. Talina says, hi, Gran, hi there. At Gran, hi there. What we got? Jen says, Blair Witch Project, see it. Jane said, Scott, how old are you old like me? Hugh said, that's 100.44 Fahrenheit. I'll tell you what, I know that's hot, don't get me wrong, but I'll take it over this damn cold. I can't stand being cold. Hugh says, Scott says, yes, I'm old. Jane said, hi, Jen. Grandma said, hi, Jenish. Is that it? Oh, I see now. Ash says, I'm losing brain cells because I've been braining so much that my think hurts. Jane said, it's cold in the office. Well, we just got here and it's just now getting warmed up because we turned the heat on. We didn't get here but about 15, 20 minutes before the live. You said Blair Witch was college kids with a camcorder. Carlos says, beyond the Thunderdome. Jen says, yo, I'm a boomer. Hugh says, it annoyed me. Jane said, lol, my think hurts. Hugh says, come on, heat. I ain't lying. Jen said, old like me. Ash says, why does my think hurting so much? I guess because you're thinking so much. I've never heard of my think hurts, but kind of funny. 24 people in, 33 likes. Thank y'all very much. I do appreciate every single one of you. Ash says, I'm sad. Don't be sad. Ash, I'm sad. Don't be sad. I'm sorry. Jane said, Ash, because you're talking to zombies. Maria said, Dr. Randy. Well, hello, Maria. How you doing? Olivia said, whoops. Black Betty, bam, balam. Jane says, hi, Maria. Olivia says, stupid, all are correct. Grandma says, hi, Maria. Ash says, oh, what's a zombie? Jen says, it came outside. I came out recently. It's amazing. Scott says, support, brother. Thank you. Maria says, hi, Jane, Olivia. Jane says, Maria, you're almost a doctor. Maybe you can help Ash think. Their think hurts, Maria. You said, hello, Maria. Ash says, Maria said, what's the Pepsi doing beside of you? I knew of all people, I moved, if you'll go back and watch the beginning of this live, I moved that Pepsi bottle just for you. I got to finish filling up my cup with that little bit of drink. Carlos says, hello, Maria. James says, Jen, what movie? I missed it. Libby says, I want to see the Betty Maria with a bunch of hearts. James said, it's too cold, Olivia. Maria said, of course, I can't ignore it. That's why I left it right there for you. Ash says, if I drink gasoline, will it go vroom vroom? Yeah, if the spark's right. If you got spark, it'll go vroom vroom, all right? It'll go out on both sides. Libby said, bitch, she is inside. Jen said, Stephen King novel movies are amazing. 1922. Olivia said, Randy told me. Maria says, what, Betty? Jane said, yep, Ash, it will do something or go kaboom. Heather said, what's up? Have a Merry Christmas to you, buddy. You too. Y'all, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. Let's see. James says, I'm not into Stephen King movies. Ash says, kaboom. What's a kaboom? You drink gas and light it. You'll find out what a kaboom is right about the second you meet Jesus. Olivia's, James says, hi, Heather. Hugh says, I found out today the Gen 4 LS has a pulse width and monitor fuel pump control module. I have to go to HP Tuners and turn it off with the DTC. Okay. Maria says, my grandma stopped calling me by my name. She started calling me a doctor. Cool. Olivia says, I haven't had my Black Betty fixed in a long time. You're not going to get it tonight. It's too cold. Lotus said, hello, Lotus. Hugh said it changed from pulse width to on off. Okay. Lotus says, what's up, Olivia? Hugh says, hello, Lotus. Jane said, it is something magnifying if you do it just right, Ash. Olivia says, I love Stephen King. Lotus says, what's up, Hugh? Hello, Maria. Ash says, okay, blows up cutie. Yeah. Carlos says, hello, Lotus. Wiggy said, suck, sneeze, bang, blow. Suck, sneezy, bang, blow. There you go. Libby says, Lotus, take that big hug. I want one. Hugh says, the injectors will not fire because it's looking for a canvas from the module. Okay. Oh. Maria says, I love Stephen King too. Scott says, anyone else have a channel I can check out later? Yeah, we got Hugh, at 8 o'clock, everybody leaves this one and goes to Metal Art Customs and watches, he does a premiere every night at 8 o'clock. Let's see, Jane says, hi, Lotus. Maria says, and when my dad told her she's not a real doctor, she told him to shut up. There you go. Hugh said, no videos or info out there. This is what caused so many problems. Oh, okay. Maria says, I laughed so hard. I bet so. Lotus said, what up, Carlo? Maria says she really likes it. She really takes it personally. I wonder where she gets that from. Or I wonder where you get. Oh, I see where you get it from. Livy says, Lotus says, hello, Jane, Boatman. Ash says, did now? Livy says, Boatman, Lowell. Rumple says, Lotus, hello. Lotus said, is it in the mail, Olivia? Sup, Rump? Jen says, you got a gun on you? Not on me, I don't. I got one close by. Jane's there's the, if you want a channel to check out later, Jane just posted one up, Metal Art Customs at 8 o'clock. Go over to it. That's a real good one. Livy said, really, it's in the mail. FC said, child should be allowed. Hugh said, Lotus, LS is Lotus is the boatman. Want to go for a boat ride? Lotus said, one hug mailed. Carlos said, at least you're not a carpet muncher. I mean, carpet racer like Grandma said, hi, Lotus. Scott said, I followed Metal Arts. Livy said, wait, it is free. Hugh said, roll on the floor, laughing my ass off, Carlo. He said, the best thing in life, seeing your parents being scolded by your grandparents. Yep. Ash says, metal? Wookie says, love that Saw Shark. It's Stephen King. Lotus says, I only take squirrels for rides. Hugh. Let's see. Hugh's laughing. Ash said, Scott, do you listen to Sleep Token? Lotus says, Lowell, I bet he do some munching on the carpet on the track. Olivia says, no, you would kill a squirrel. Let's see. Jen says, I suggest weapons. great movie for so long. Maria says, I love Leave the Children Alone. Jane said, I have to leave the live to get everyone else's channel. If you guys if you guys in there would share your links, yes, what would help Scott find you? Let's see. Scott said, no, I don't. Ash has got stars. Lotus said, why would I kill a squirrel? Carlos says, Lowell at Lotus and Hugh. Lotus says, you know they can swim, right? I'm going to stop for just a second. FC, the topic does not matter to you. You only have one thing to say. You do not care about anybody else's opinion. You did not come on here for a right or wrong answer. You come on here to spout out what you had to say, and you're not here to learn anything. So I will not be reading your comment. Hugh says, got his on there, Grandpa bit. Olivia says, oh, never mind, I didn't say that. Whoops. Wookie said, squirrel can fly. Randy, did you know that one of Randy's names is the Squirrel Killer? I did not. Jen said, link ain't active. Olivia says, you were going to ride the squirrel. You thought you were going to ride the squirrel, said Olivia. I thought you were going to ride the squirrel. Okay. You said, for some reason, links aren't working. I don't know. See what I'm saying? There you are again. You're not here to learn. You're here to try to make me say something you're not. I'm not into it, buddy. Grandma said, Rumpel, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a bit. And the family, you and family okay? Jane said, sorry, Scott. Try Metal Art Customs. Hugh said, have an awesome night, everyone. Time clock calling me. All right, Hugh, thank you for stopping in. Rumpel said, didn't even see the time. Got to scoot or get a boot. Hoot, hoot. Later, everyone. Take care. See you, Rumpel. Lotus said, no, the squirrel goes in the 50-inch gas RC boat. There you go. Jane said, Grand Hugh. Jen said, bye, guys. See you, Jim. Olivia's laughing. Whoops, sorry, Lotus. Carlos said, Lowell, Lotus. Jane said, take care of Hugh. Olivia said, oh, no, Lotus. Jane said, take care of Rumpel. Brr. In India, we consume the cow urine. It's holy to us. I think you said that the other night. And like I told you before, that's you and yours. We don't talk the stuff because we don't understand it, but we do not hold it against you. Rumpel said, Grandma, I'm doing awesome. Time zone issues. Sometimes it doesn't work to see it's 5:25 a.m. here. Maria says, Jim is here. I don't think so. I don't think so, Maria. Lotus said, as long as, whoop. What did Carlo do? I think you hit the wrong button, Jane. Rumpel said, Jane, later, take care. Olivia says, the crankshaft did seep up. I don't know if I spelled that right, but oh well, I'm too lazy to actually try. If you're trying to delete him, don't delete him. I'm just going to skip his comment because it does. I think you hit it wrong, but I'm just going to skip his comment because he's not here to listen. Grandma said, hi, Burr. Jane said, oops, sorry, Carlo. I just timed you out for 10 minutes. Oh yes, I had forgotten it was Utah. Jane, I think you can go on there and change it for a couple seconds, and it will back up. It will refresh, and he can come back in here. See, Bruce said thanks. Grandma says, "Oh wow, Rumple, that's mighty early." Lotus says, "Are you saying she'll be down?" Jane says, "Nothing, Pop." Wookie said, "That was your favorite sporting event." Levy said, "It was an accident, Pops." Yeah, I know. Bruce says, I have to go. Have a great day, everyone." All right, see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. James said, "It jumped, Pop. Sorry. I believe me. I understand. That's the reason I be careful about it because it does happen. No big deal." Rumble says, "Grandma, it's a Saturday." But like I said, I think you can go on and you go back and change it to like a couple seconds and it will let him come right back in here. You can. I can't do it. Let's see. Carlos says, "Grandma, what's up?" And it's Saturday. Wookie said, "Including motorsports." Grandma said, "It's almost 7 here in North Carolina." Yep, 6:55. Levy said, "No, they're working in there. He has another crankshaft." Maria says, "Just block him." Well, I'm going to leave him for a minute, but if he keeps on, I am, because he's not here to listen. He's kind of trolling. But if he don't listen here in a minute, I'm just going to remove him from the channel. But like I said, I'm hoping he's welcome to listen, but we're not on that subject no more. Grandma said, "You in Australia?" Rumple says, "Grandma, India." Maria said, "What did you do today?" We went to a pheasant shoot for the people that we buy tires from. And we went to a seminar. They fed us a real good dinner, and then we went and shot birds. I didn't shoot, and Randy didn't shoot, but Justin did. He ended up getting 3. So that took up it was like 2.5-hour drive there and 2.5-hour drive back. So we pretty much spent the day at that event. Grandma says, "Oh, okay." Jane says, It won't let me change it." It's fine. He'll be back in a few minutes. I hope he understands. Well, you said, "Randy, what is your favorite sporting event, including motorsports?" I don't really care for none of them, but if I'm going to take any of them, it's going to be some type of I guess I kind of like the super trucks. I like that because they're racing and they're jumping and stuff like that. That's probably my favorite if I'm going to pick any. And I do like the new drift thing they're doing. I think that's awesome. I would love to get into the drifting thing of it. It's what one of our cars is going to be for. Libby said, "I did get the bad one, though, then proceeding to hit King with it because he took other crankshaft away." Rumple said, "Take care. I'll see you, Rumple." Grandma says, "Who blocked Maria?" No. Somebody blocked. Jane blocked Carlo by accident. I don't think nobody blocked Maria. Grandma said, "You as well, Rumple. God bless you and the family." All right, I'm going to read this one, but the subject's over. FC says, "I'm not trolling. I'm here to listen. Please read my messages. If you put anything else about what we talked about, I will not read it. That subject's over. You're not listening. We're not getting anywhere. There's no sense in it. At that point, it's over." Let's see. Lotus says, "My mom slapped the shit out of me. I talked back, be picking my butt off the ground." There you go. Lotus, Libby says, but hey, a Ford part lasted 15 years. We're proud of that, Ford. Yep. Hey, yeah. Lotus said, "Parents are the law, not friends." Never. Lotus, what? You'd have to go back and read it because he's trying to bait everybody into saying something, so there's no sense of having a discussion. If he wants to listen to other stuff, he's welcome. But we're not getting into that subject because he only wants to hear one side, and that's his. Libby said, shut up, Lotus. Lotus said, otherwise children end up entitled and dumb. That's kind of what I was saying. Maria said, nice. Did you take any photographs? I did take a few of Justin shooting and one video. I actually left the camera here, believe it or not. I had the battery for the camera in my vest pocket and left the camera here, so I wasn't able to. I really wanted to film some and put it on there for y'all, and I forgot the camera. And I know it was stupid of me. Jane said, Grandma, I accidentally muted Carlo for 10 minutes. Grandma said, oh, okay, Jane, thank you. Dimitri, D. Herman, hey guys, it snowed a bit today. Worked on cleaning around the pool. Where we were at, we didn't get snow, but Madison texted Randy and said it snowed quite a bit here, but none on the ground, but it was snowing. Jane said, hi there. Grandma said, hi there. Maria says, in his eyes, he really wants to block me, but I think he waits until the right moment. No, you're wrong, Maria. You're no. I actually get a kick out of some of the things. Some of the things you get kind of wrong with me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lie to you. And some of it does kind of get under my skin, but I do understand. But I absolutely, out of everybody in here, I got a bunch of what I consider my friends. You're trying to help the channel out in your way, and I think that you're helping me in more ways than you know, and I do appreciate it. You would have to get pretty bad for me to block you. D. Herman says, hi mods. Scott said 287,000 on my old Ford. Cool. 04 Ford. Maria said, dummy. Yes, believe me. I called myself worse than that. Mike said, Jane, the Arctic blast is headed your way. It hit here and it's cold. I heard it was going to hit here. I think they said on about the 20th of December. Let's see. Grandma said it didn't get to see. I didn't get to see no snow. Well, we were actually not far from your house, Grandma, so it didn't snow where we was at. I don't know 100% where you're at, but we were right there close to y'all, where we done the pheasant shoot. Livia said, Lotus, I didn't mean it come back. D. Herman said, pond, not pool. We ain't that civilized. Lotus says, I didn't do anything. Jane said, shut up, Mike. Maria said, thanks. Livy said, but the funniest thing I have seen yet is the things we'll never see. Okay. Woogie said, Jane, what do I have to do to get blocked? Jane said, be in the right place at the wrong time. Jane said, Grandma, come and stay with me. We're going to have snow tonight and tomorrow. Maria said, worse than dummy? I don't think those kids kind of words exist. I'm dumb was in it, but ass was another part of it. Mike showing cold. Three-wheeler said, what's up? Hello, three-wheeler. Livia says, an alien dinosaur and this guy eating a salad. Jane said, hi, Max. Lotus said, what you smoking on tonight, Olivia? You been in my stash? 19 people, 37 thumbs up. Well, I do appreciate it. No, I'm just awake. I think she said she's been fighting sleep, so she's ahead of the game. Maria says, why you think you and Randy were like cartoon characters? You should never curse. You're right, I should not. I do, but I should not. Grandma said, no thank you, Jane. I love you and would love to meet you in person, but not in the snow. Jane said, Wookie, please don't do stupid stuff. Be obnoxious or offensive. Mike said, hi, three-wheeler. Levy says, can I rob your stash though? Grandma said, hi, 3. Lotus said, 38 for now. Three-wheeler said, hi, Jane, hi, Lotus, hi, Long, hi, Ghost, and hi, Grandma. Graham. I'm sorry. Olivia said, the ass isn't even that bad. It ain't. But it's still, I still shouldn't say it. Mike said, Wookie or piss Jane off. Yeah. Lotus says, Lowell Boggy would throw 15 fits and shit a cinder block. Yeah, Wookie said, Jane, don't speak to my wife in the end. Lotus said, he really don't like that stuff. Maria said, yes, cursing is bad. Olivia said, don't like that. Don't like what? Not that. Jane said, Lowell or piss Jane off. Actually, don't piss Pops off. I'll hide you in a minute. Lotus said, the green stuff. Lotus said, what's in my stash? D. Herman says, growing up in Missouri, they just put snow chains on the school buses even when it snowed. No canceling. Wow. Olivia said, Grandma said, the snow, Olivia. I want y'all to look at this. How long have I been in here this live so far here? What am I doing here? Where's it at? 68 minutes and I'm showing 39 likes. Thank y'all very much. Olivia said, that's also true, Grandma. Maria said, put the Pepsi away. No. Carlos says, I'm back, y'all. Yeah, sorry, Carlo. The live, you probably heard it, but the live moved when she was trying to do something to somebody else. She did not mean to. Olivia said, bring the Pepsi out. Grandma said, I got you, Lotus. Jane said, D. Herman. They never canceled when it snowed when I went to school. I walked 8 foot deep snow uphill both ways. I was going to say that. She shared shoes with her brothers and sisters so their feet didn't get so cold. Maria, what you so mad about? Turn that frown upside down and make a smile. What you mad about? Say, Jane said, I'm so sorry, Carlo. Lotus said, all right, Grandma gets it. D. Herman said, likes are overrated. We're sending loves. Well, I like that too. I don't know why I like to see it go up. It makes me feel like y'all are interacting with me. I don't know if it does any good, but I do like to see them go up. Jane said, oh man, Maria said, put the Pepsi away. Oh no, I gotta have that. I gotta have it, Maria. I'm addicted to it. Remember? I gotta have it. And my orange. Olivia says, get it now, and never mind. Lotus says, Maria pissed again, but she's about to whoop you with a salad or a chicken, her choice. I know, right? Olivia said, keep your stash. Olivia said, bring the Pepsi out. Jane said, Lotus. Lotus says, I have some tasty gummies for you, Olivia. Randy said, did you show your new hat? No, I did not. Let me show Maria, I got a new hat for you. You won't believe it, but they give it to me at the meet today. It's a new color. You will not believe it. Are you ready? Let's see. Wookie said, surf for turf. Grandma says, left my ass off Lotus. Olivia says, new hat? Jane said, hey, R3. Maria said, yes, and addicted to eating people on Sunday breakfast. Olivia says, I want gummies. Maria says, new hat? Randy says, hello all, I fell asleep. Jane says, oh my God, I love it. Grandma says, hi, Randy 3, how are you feeling today? Lotus says, there is a stash, Olivia, up on the beach. Maria's laughing. Knew it. Scott said, Tennessee orange, brother. Woohoo! Olivia said, new hat. Carlos said, hello, R3. Grandma said, love it, Pops, it's cute. Daryl said, I'm back. Hello, I'm back. Randy says, hi, Grandma. Feel great, just tired. How are you? Maria says, I like it. Randy says, Hey, Lotus and Carlo. Wookie says, Van. Whew, it's hot in here now. Olivia says, no, you forgot. Eat people. That's Maria saying there. I can't admit to nothing. Jane said, where did you go, Daryl? Clean out the sugar pantry. Grandma said, Grandma said, still not well, but doing the best I can, Randy. Daryl said, phone, etc. Wiki said, that's amazing. I almost can't see you. I know, it was Hunter Orange. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Olivia says, what do you think Walmart meat is? Maria said, who gave it to you? It was BTS, our tire company that we buy tires from when we sell them. They give it to us. And Randy actually got an orange hat. I got the toboggan. Lotus says, you eat them gummies. Only thing you will do is raid the fridge and take a nap. Daryl says, R3. Randy the man said, hey, Daryl. D. Herman says, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, or Cruise. Vote. I kind of like Stallone. I like Tom Cruise, but I probably like Stallone better than any of those. I liked all the movies they were in, though. Metal said, Walmart meats are all cloned. Libby said, no ice. Slept for about 11 hours already today. I'm good. Jane said, Lotus, I need gummies. Wake me up. Rhea said, the orange makes people addicted to strange things. Daryl said, Ghostly. Carlos said, ha ha. Lotus, do those gummies contain a secret ingredients? Livia said, not true, Mac. It's just regular people meat. Lotus said, I have a few packs left, Jane. Jane says, Stallone can't stand Tom Cruise. He reminds me of my crazy cousin. Olivia said, Mac. Lotus said, Arnold. Randy says, it is too early to put the kids to bed. I'm tired. Yeah, he drove back most of the way. Justin died off right real quick, and then I was pretty out coming back too. I kicked the seat back, and Randy had to drive while we slept. Daryl said, taking movie people. Ooh, talking movie people, sorry. Lotus said, it's not a secret. Jane says, I'll be back. Roscoe says, never done, and happy Friday, brother. Hello, happy. Randy says, get to that chopper. Woogie said, get a load of the Christmas fair in today, which means for food for Christmas. Randy said, please stop eating people on breakfast. It's not cool. I don't eat people on breakfast. That's something you started, not me. Daryl says, come back from. Jane said, hi, Roscoe. Maria said, that's a lot better thing to eat. Carlos said, okay, Lotus, it gives you the munchies, eh? Roscoe said, hey, is that Daryl with the little wrench and the little boot? Olivia said, Arnold isn't just a Meister person. He is a 2-time world champion for something. Lotus said, I think Maria wants to come to breakfast. Yeah. You think Maria wants to be part of breakfast? D. Herman said, fun fact, Stallone wrote Ricky and offered to play the lead part for free. I heard that the other day on a documentary or something. Balloon says, these Americans don't have an idea about freedom. I don't know. If we don't have freedom, then I don't know who has. Grandma says, I'm Roscoe. Gator's got Gator and the cross sign. Hello, Gator. Roscoe said, happy Friday. Let's go. Jane said, Daryl, they were shooting pheasants today. Oh, I didn't know you were asking me, Daryl. Sorry. Grandma said, hi, Gator. Maria said, no, I didn't. You said it by yourself. I said we were eating people. I said it. Lord have mercy. I must have more of a fish memory than I thought. Daryl said, oh, cool. Well, I'm sorry, Daryl. I thought you knew it. I didn't realize I thought you were talking about Jane or Carlo being back. I'm sorry. Randy said, Dear Herman, he sold his dog to make the first Rocky and bought it back. Lotus said, Arnold is a two-time Mr. Olympian. For weightlifting, wasn't it? Wookie said, my dog is called Roscoe, and he is an English Springer. I just drew a blank. I'm looking at it. Springer. Anyway, Maria said, okay, stop. I'll be scared and won't fall asleep again. Gator said, hi, jokes and chats. Chat. Carlos said, what's up, Gator? Randy said, hi, Gator. Jane said, Gator. Daryl said, Gator. Maria says, yes, fish memory. Lotus said, what's up, Gator? Maria said, I'm kidding. I know I started it. David says, yeah, two-time Mr. Olympian and a man with the bicep the size of my chest. Oh, muscular. Lotus said, we only eat people around Halloween. Maria says, you're not that fish memory. Daryl said, I must have missed that, Randy. I'm sorry. I was telling the story about last year. Randy and I went the first time to the pheasant. Randy didn't kill any. I killed one last year. Justin was the only one that shot today because Randy being hurt, and I didn't feel like my left shoulder's been bothering me, and I really wasn't wanting to get my right shoulder sore. So Justin's the only one that shot, and he ended up killing 3 today. For what he told Randy after he killed the third one of them, it was so funny. I about died laughing. But he said he didn't care as long as he beat Randy. That's all that mattered. Gator said, hello, folks. How's all doing? Doing great. Jane says, Maria, you really haven't seen in the tire shed, right? Talk about bodies. Olivia says, you eat people all year round. I don't know what Lotus talks about. Lotus said, for body building, I don't think he holds any records for powerlifting. Roscoe said, Roscoe, good name. Daryl said, Lotus. Roscoe said, have to close one location, too much violence and too many fools. We understand that. Maria said, it's a movie, Jane. Lotus said, shut up, Olivia. You're next. Daryl said, 40 likes. Yes, dang, that's awesome. Thank y'all. Carlos said, favorite series of movies, The Terminator. Yeah, I like them. Olivia says, no, you eat people. I'll join in. Wookie says, bye for now. See you, Wookie. Thank you. Daryl said, nice, Justin. Randy said he wasn't just excited. He was over the moon. He was. What come out his mouth, I will not repeat on this live, but I will tell you what. For Randy to be speechless, it was so damn funny. He couldn't do nothing but laugh. I couldn't do nothing but laugh. And for the longest time, all we did was repeated what Justin said because he wanted to make damn sure Randy knew he beat him. Randy says, take care of Wookie. Jane said, take care of Wookie. Gator says, anyone ever try Addie's Lobster's dip? It's good. I have not. Dearman said, go on, Predator, Terminator, vote. I like Predator, but I'm probably going to stay with Terminator. Daryl's with Max says, tap, thank you. Olivia said, stupid broken phone. I meant to pit. Olivia says, Predator. Maria said, Mike saw him eating people, but he was too scared to tell. Maria said, poor man, he was only trying to enjoy his Halloween. Jane said, Roscoe, what location are you closing? Levy said, yeah, he didn't need statement caution. Maria laughing. Jane said, Daryl, how long tonight? Woo. Daryl said, I haven't looked yet. 20 people in here, 41 likes. Listen, I do tell each and every one of you, thank you. I do appreciate it. James Olivia is trying to say he didn't Heed the warning. Oh, okay. And Daryl says, been a busy night. Olivia says, you picked the Terminator over the Predator. How dare you, Pops? I thought that Predator was a good movie. I liked it, but I'll stay with Terminator. I don't know why. I just liked it. I'll be back. I can quote some of the things from Terminator. I remember the Predator, but I can't remember any certain parts from it. D. Herman says, I can't remember the name of that. I mean, I can't remember that movie. I know I've seen it. I can't remember what it's about, though. Go on. Gator said, do you eat the lobsters? Oysters. I do not. No, I will not eat an oyster. They just looking at them things make me think somebody's hawking up a quid. No. Randy says, I like oyster stew, but not the actual oyster. Chris, never done. Hello, Chris. Jane said, I ate oysters. Maria says, new pick. Chris says, Gator. Jane says, Chris. And Randy says, Chris. Chris says, Jane. Gator says, Rocky Mountain oysters. I thought that was goat balls. Goat testicles, sorry. Daryl said, Chris. Gator said, hi, Chris. 43 likes. Thank y'all. Chris said, Randy. D. Erman says, why are y'all censoring the translation of Schwarzenegger's name? I didn't know we were. Daryl said, lol. Chris said, metal. Whoop. Jane said, lol. Nope, not Rocky Mountain oysters, fresh from the sea oysters. Chris says, how is everybody tonight? Yeah. I'm doing great, Chris, and I hope you are. Had a good day. Like I said, we didn't get anything done around the shop, but we were able to go and enjoy the time. I think Justin enjoyed it. We all three had a good time. We need more of these days like this. Randy said, D. Herman, YouTube does weird things, but we don't censor anything. Libby says, I didn't. I just didn't remember how to spell his last name. Bixon said, hello, you been to Vietnam? No, I did not. I have not been to Vietnam, no. Grandma said, hi, Chris. Jane said, productive day, Chris. Christmas presents for 16 people wrapped. What'd you get me, Jane? Please say pickles. Chris said, Vic. Whoop. Gator said, he isn't old enough for Vietnam. Daryl said, 1 hour and 12 minutes tonight. Jane said, hi, Bixon. Olivia said, my papa had been to Vietnam. Maria said, if someone did something bad to one of your cars, let's say it was your favorite, what are you going to do? Depends on what it is and exactly what the intentions were. If it was something deliberate and they were just trying to tear up my shit, it would probably not end well for them, or one of us anyway. If it was an accident, we'll just try to get it fixed. But if it was deliberate, it might not be good. Vixen said, come back. Vacon, do you... no, not that I know of. Grandma said, Pops, thank you for your live. Have a great night, and God bless you always and the family. You too, Grandma. Be safe, and thank you. Jane said, Pops, I have pickles for you. If the plane would let me carry on, I could meet you in Charlotte, but it won't happen. I understand. I do. Just save them for me, though. Libby said, good night, Grandma. Randy says, have a great night, Grandma. Maria says, so you're not going to eat them? I don't eat people, Maria. If I did eat people, I wouldn't tell you I'd eat people. I would tell you I didn't eat people because it's not good. But I don't eat people. Grandma said, good night, everyone. God bless you all and the family. You too, Grandma, and your family. The Erman said, Schwarzenegger, really dark African person. Daryl says, hi and bye, Grandma. Gator says, night, Grandma Vic. Jane says, take care of Grandma. Grandma says, thank you all. Chris says, I would put them on a dog leash on the back bumper. There you go. Olivia said, Bixon, are you curious about Biddy Kong? I don't know what that is. I mean, Maria said, just like you're doing now. No, Maria. You're looking at all things the wrong way. I would never eat anybody. That is not right. That's disgusting. Bixon says an American really broke legs and Betcon. Maria says, we have the new Jeffrey Dahmer. Lou said, so each people got it. Maria says, but now he's bald, not blonde. See, this is not really Pepsi. It's something I mixed up right before the live there. So y'all can't see inside of it. Jane said, Bixon, what are you trying to say? Question mark. Lotus said, Maria, he don't eat people, just cats. Maria said, well, drinking Pepsi that much is disgusting too. D. Herman says, if ice cream was healthy, I think it's all I would eat. It is healthy. Randy says, it's a mix of brains and blood. Maria said, then it's worse, Lotus. Randy says, maybe a little earwax. Ooh, that is nasty. Jane said, Lord, Lotus, you playing with fire. Dixon said, bloody war been in Bacon. I don't know what that is. Lotus says, well, it does take fire to roast a cat. Jane says, Bixon, did you serve in Vietnam? Okay, I didn't realize that's what that was meaning, Vietnam. Huh, I am dumb. Let's see, Lotus, well, it does take fire. Okay, Jane says, Bixon, what are you trying, did you serve in Vietnam? Olivia said, it is healthy because happy equals healthy. That's right. Jane said, Lotus, you're going to make Maria have nightmares. Maria said, he's texting the new victim. Don't be scared if your phone goes off and it says, I knew what you did last night. Maria says, I'm scared. Jane said, sounds like plane taking off. Yeah, I was too close. It was back, going back through. Let's see. Bixon said, I've been Yugoslavia war. I hate that country's gone. I like the old Yugo. Maria says, I want my mommy. Mommy. Randy says, Maria, you should be scared. Olivia said, Jane, Vietnam was part of Vietnam. Jane said, Bixon, I am so sorry. War is such a waste of human life. I agree with Jane. The Herman said, for anyone suffering depression, I'm offering my help. You're not alone. Thank you. That is nice. Bixon said 1991 to 1995. Maria says, I didn't do anything. I know what you done. I saw it. Jane said, Olivia, I know. I lived through Vietnam conflict. Lotus said, Maria, if you see a van full of masked guys pull up, run like hell. She's not going to see it. She's going to be asleep, and she's just going to think it's one of them tarantulas coming up on her. put over her face real quick, she'll get, just, she won't even be able to holler. Next thing you know, she'll be over here in the basement. Randy says, Maria, that's what all the guilty people say. Big said, we fight with Muslims. Big says, NDP Projects, hello, whoop. Randy says, hey, Big. Big says, chat, whoop. Darrell says, Big. Lotus says, orange mask, man. Yeah. Big says, okay, I'm out. Stay safe. Thanks for stopping in, Big. And appreciate the like. That's giving me 45. See, Big says, do you know car you go? Yes, I had one. 86, I believe. Wished I still had it back. It's the only one I know. You put the spare tire on top of the engine. That was the funniest thing. Maria said, yeah, guilty people who wears glasses with orange shirts. Olivia said, yeah, that was the terrible war for both sides. I think war are terrible for any sides, but Randy says, other than the money thing, Randy says, Maria, the Randy Files have your location and schedule. You did just about trip us up a little bit when you switched schools, but we were right on top of it. Bigson said, from Yugoslavia. Scott said, do you have the Grimace shakes? No, not that I know of. James said, Dixon, unfortunately, war sometimes pits or another against brother. James said, is it really big? Ray says, I don't do anything seriously. Yeah. Let's see. What's this? GG says, hi. Hello, GG. Olivia said, but it's sometimes my dad did them triangle people too. D. Herman says, pecan, pumpkin, or apple pie. Vote. I don't like apple pie and I don't like pumpkin, so I'll have to stay with pecan. Randy said apple. Lotus said, the Randy Files have your cat's location, even the one that her daddy sold. Bixon says, whoop, whoop. Good car. I liked it. I wished I had it back. Daryl says, be right back. Going to BRG has one he's building. Oh, really? I ain't checked that out. D. Herman says, pumpkin pie and eggnog make me go number 2 a lot. I'll bet. Rita said, not my cats. Take mine and did instead. Lotus said, we don't take dads, only cats. See, Olivia said, don't say that. Maria, you miss him. James, Lord, Maria is offering up her dad for sacrifice. And she didn't even hesitate. Bigson said, who is from USA? New war coming to USA. I hope not. Jane says, Maria says, I know, but I'll miss my cats more. Dang, that is a harsh thing to say, Maria. Daryl said, I just screenshot that message, Maria. I'll text your dad now. Man, 48 thumbs up. Thank y'all. Jane says, I'm from USA, Ohio. Didn't North Carolina here. Libby said, I miss my dad. Maria said, now he's talking bad about my new black cat. She didn't do anything bad. I didn't say I was going to do anything bad to the new cat. He says, and write newspaper, question mark. James and Bixon, check out Busted Radio Garage, your YouTube. He's building a Yugo. He said, oh, I'm sorry for that, Olivia. Obian says, hello, Obian. How are you doing? I'm doing great. Hope you are. Randy said, hey, on top. Olivia says, don't be living a good life. Bixon said, USA war, this terror. Okay. Lotus said, she's going to be sleeping with the chickens tonight. the chickens to keep her safe while we get the cats. D. Herman said, Japanese have a new drug that regrows teeth. Oh, really? Maria said, never. Jane said, Bixen, you can't trust what newspaper or news channels say. Maria said, I said it's because I know he'll choose the chickens over me. Carlos says, I'm back, y'all. Randy says, welcome back, Carlo. Big says, yes, I trust CNN. I wouldn't trust nobody. Randy, especially news. Randy said, Maria, tell your cats to trust the men in red and orange. That's right. Ben says, can you please help connect me to female friend where, if you wouldn't mind. I don't. Anybody in here can click on your profile if they want to talk to you. They can look you up. I don't know how to hook you up with anybody. Are you local? Where are you from? Lotus said, what he really though? Would he really though? So that's just the way she thinks. Carlos says, you Randy. Randy said, just last night my aunt said, I think your dad loves the chickens more. I thought it was only in my mind. Lotus said, choose the chickens. Daryl said, I bet the chickens would choose him. Daryl says, I can't trust the news because I don't watch it. I'm the same way, Daryl. I don't care to watch nothing. If I want a bunch of lies, never mind. Bixen says, all heavy weapons is parked near to Venezuelan. Is that what that is? Maria said, no, I'll tell him to bite the red and orange guys. Let's say Jane needs a new friend to stalk. There you go. Randy says, sound like we can have a good breakfast this weekend. Yeah, it does, don't it? Little kitty on the stick. Jane said, no, Lotus, I don't have time to stalk. Daryl said, Lord. Maria says, why most men hate cats? It's not fair. Life's not fair, Maria. Daryl said, pheasants this weekend? No, we didn't bring any. We left them all there. Liv said, no more talk about weapons and war. The more I think about the more I remember the stories my papa told, and then my papa, and that's depressing subject. I agree. I don't like talking about wars. Big says, do you drink Coca-Cola or Pepsi? Pepsi, right there. Right there. Pepsi, the way to go. Coca-Cola is nasty. D. Herman said, public notice, if you've been bit by more than a few ticks, you have tick disease. Guaranteed 100%. Primary symptoms are joint and stomach pain. Lotus said, what are too busy making, what? Are you too busy making pickles? Jane said, shoot, Lotus, I was near you last Saturday and you didn't take the time to stalk you. I didn't even take time to stalk you. No, but she knew where you were, Lotus. You missed out, Jane, said Lotus. Maria says, nobody wants to talk about wars. They're awful. I agree with you, Maria. Olivia says, I meant home being gone was the pressing subject. Ben said, please, I will be delighted if I am. Well, we'll try. We'll try to find you somebody. And Vixen said, Pepsi, yes. Hannah said, hello, friends. Hello, Hannah. We've missed you lately. Daryl says, Hannah. Randy says, hey, Hannah. Vixen says, you from the middle of America. Denton, North Carolina. Hannah said, hey, Daryl. Are you crazy? Crazy over you. Nope. Daryl said, that is not a dating site. This is not a dating site. Carlos said, Jane, in the future, can you please try not to block me again or you're going to give me a panic attack? Randy said, Bixen, Middle East, North Carolina. Lotus said, yes, please. Jane says, Oven, this is wrong channel for you, I think. The Herman says, I have a sawmill. If anyone ever wants to bring a log or two, I'll cut up. Where'd you say you was from, the Herman? I thought I asked you a minute ago if I read it. I got that fish memory. I don't remember. Hannah said, yes, I'm in the Laporte. Randy said, crazy people don't know they're crazy, and I know I'm crazy, so I'm not crazy. There you go. I like it. Big said, you been in the army? Nope. Baller said, free Palestine. I did. And I'm telling you what, they took off. They got about to the road and they turned around and come back. And they said, man, we got it made here with you. So they went right back to the basement and waited for me to give them more Pepsi. Jane said, I apologize, Carlo. You should still read chat. Randy said, logs scare me now. Dearman said, Caswell County. You're not far from us then. We're just right here on the edge of Montgomery County. Caswell County's not too far from us. Hannah said, hello, little Randy. Jane said, I have 8 walnut trees. I'm about ready to let go off. The Dearman said, south of Danville, Virginia. It ain't too far. Chris says, when are you going to change your glasses? Whenever I get time to go. Probably, I'll be honest with you, when these break, that's when I'll change them. Jane said, and Swell County, what a state. Daryl said, want me to send Billy over Jane? Hannah says, I have to be here for 60 days. Jane said, yeah, not yet, Daryl. I got 48 likes. I'm getting close to my 8 o'clock. Can we get about 3 more so I can be guaranteed 50, please? Can somebody help me out? Pretty please. Daryl said spring would be best for that Jane before the buds start. Jane said, Pops, what strength are your glasses? I don't remember. I don't remember if it's... I think it's 150, I believe. I think, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and put them on and see, find the ones I like and then put them on. Jason said, hi. Hello, Jason. Barham says, I love America, but I hate Israel. You shouldn't hate anybody. But I am in Israel. Sorry. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Dearman said, fun fact, Andy Griffith was giving the sausage to Helen Crump while he was married. Yeah, see, that's not nice. Randy says, hey, Landon. Jane said, hey, Landon. Hi, Landon. I'm sorry. Oh, I said Jason. That's why I didn't know what it was. Sorry. Rita says, if your hair started to grow again, and what color would it be? My hair grows, Maria. I shave every single morning. But my hair would probably end up being about like my beard, but it was a dirty blonde color. No, it would not be orange. Hannah said, yes, I made a mistake and started smoking marijuana again. Uh-oh, that's not good. Jane said, we don't hate in this channel. Vixen said, do you read newspaper? I do not. This is all the reading you'll see me do right here. Maria says he can only read the live comments. That's right. Olivia says, drop, too fast, drop, too furious, too fast for y'all. Man, drop, too fast, drop, too furious. I'm too fast for y'all. Muhammad, you just came home from doing the detail me what you're going to do. Act a fool. Okay. I think Olivia likes to trip me up. Jane says, Olivia, what the hell? I think she's just I think she gets a kick out of trying to trip me up, trip the old man up. Lotus said, I saw a meme today that said, can't go to work. Tree fell on me. It was a little Debbie tree. And Randy had saw that same one and sent it to our operation manager. um, Randy said, tomorrow night I might can show y'all an old pic of him and me. Maria says, how much time do you take to shave it? I shave when I get in the shower, so it doesn't take me very long. I don't watch. I just shave in the shower and let it go. Carlos says, okay, I'll go get Safa and I'll be visiting soon. Y'all have a great evening. See you, Carlo. Thanks for stopping in. And again, sorry about the little mishap. Randy said, Lotus, I sent that to my boss. D. Herman said, fun fact, Andy Griffin gave Helen. Jane said, take care, Carlo. Olivia said, he. Bixon said, this post, boy, don't throw you backyard. Jane said, dear Herman, please don't. I said, does Pepsi affect your health? I'm going to be honest with you, no drink is good for you. But I don't want to say no because it would really be a lie because it's not a healthy drink. Let me just say that. Lotus said, that's funny. Maria said, let it go. Let it go. Hannah said, yes, I used to do drugs every day because my mother did the same. And that's not good, Hannah. But I'm not your father or nothing like that, but it would be, they're not good for you, but neither is Pepsi. I would love to see you make better decisions, but that's, again, I'm not getting on to you. I'm just saying. Randy said, bye, Carlo. Aber said, hey, man. And said, although they can ruin your life, yes, they can. Maria said, you need to get a clown wig. I ought to. Lotus said, Pepsi 100% makes you live forever. Hey, one thing's for sure with Pepsi, you ain't got to worry about a six-pack. You can have a case around your belly all the time. Livia says, Maria said, Pepsi is bad. Don't listen to them. Bixie said, newspaper don't throw. Dearman said, spikes like U.S. stripes or private Vietnam. I don't care for none of them, to be honest with you. Lotus said, have you ever had a Pepsi Maria? Randy says, haven't seen them. D. Herman. Danny said, Bixie, what are you trying to ask? I don't understand. Maria says, no, I don't drink Pepsis that much. Okay. He said, have you ever had a Pepsi Maria? Maria says, no, I don't drink Pepsi that much. So either you have or you have not. Lotus said, I asked Dr. Pepper. He said Pepsi is great. Randy says, it's cold outside, so I put a blanket over my six-pack. Libby said, never mind, party pooper, I was singing to you. Yeah, I knew what you were doing. Adam said, what up, y'all? Hello, Adam. Randy said, hey, Adam. Adam said, Randy. Hannah said, yes. And anyway, they added about a month more of my contract today. Ooh, maybe you should take that time and just think about it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Other than I'm sure you've heard enough of BS, so I hope the best for you. If there's anything we can do for you, spend your time in these lives with us, and we'll try to do better for you, or try to help you. Let's say that. Lotus said, what up, greasy guy? Maria says, I have. Greasy said, Lotus. Jane says, hey, Adam. Adam says, Maria, Pepsi is bad for you. Lol. Adam said, Jane. Lotus says, Adam, stop lying. Pepsi makes you live longer. D. Herman said, fun fact, a person with 6 fingers is likely to have a child. Six-fingered child. Rich said, nobody lives forever. Ram says, I'm autistic, I can't design decor to room your. Adam said, I will definitely live long forever. 50 likes, y'all. If I get at least one more, that will hold me for 50. Right now, the dummies was hold me back to 49. Jane said, Dear Herman, I know a guy with 6 fingers, and yes, it passes down. Lotus says, yo, the bionic man will, I live forever, or for your half machine. Adam says, right, Lotus. Maria says, okay, bye, I'm going to sleep. See you, Randy, everyone. Okay, Maria, you be good, and I'll see you in about 15 minutes when you close your eyes. I'm going to say, boo. Randy said, good night, Maria. Lotus said, night, Maria. Jane said, bye, Maria. Maria said, shut up. Hello, Maria. Sleep well. D. Herman said, sleep safe tonight, y'all. God bless. Olivia said, right, Maria. Maria says, I'm terrified enough. Lois said, get the orange suit and the van ready. That's right. I need a driver. Anybody want to drive for me? Carlos says, yo, remember me? Yes, I remember you. Olivia said, Pop-Pops, did my message not send? Every one of them did. Adam said, I got the van. All right. Olivia said, I was picking on you. I know what you were doing. Let's see. Brown said, can you calculate how many liters of Pepsi you've drunk from the beginning of your life until now? I probably could. But there would be no telling, to be honest with you. Especially if you added Dr. Pepper in there too, because I used to drink a lot more Dr. Pepper than I ever thought about drinking Pepsi. Jane said, hi, Carolyn. Maybe I said Carlo, but maybe it's Carolyn. Sorry. Randy said, I have the skills to kidnap. No, I don't. Maria says, if you're going to drive until here, you'll be 100 years when you reach. Hey, we know people. So when you go to sleep, make sure you lay on your back so we don't have to wrestle so much to get it over your face to make you breathe that stuff up. What is that? I believe it's called chloroform. Is that right? Carolyn said, up. Livia said, even the one about you hugging the Pepsi machine before you giving me a hug. I read it. I did read it. I just didn't read it out loud. Adam said, I actually gave up soda. Never felt better. When I did feel better. I did nothing but water and grape juice for a little over a year. I did feel better. I'm not trying to lie about it. Lotus said, Mountain Dew. I don't like Mountain Dew. Adam said, drank a Dr. Pepper last week and it felt like crap. See, that's what I drank 2 liters of Dr. Pepper a day for a long time because I'd buy them 100 at a time, 2 liters at the grocery store, and I had a place built for it would hold 100 of those drinks, and I bought 100 at a time. Then when I quit drinking them, nothing but water and grape juice for over a year. The next time, that's the reason you don't see me drink Dr. Pepper hardly ever because I don't really like it anymore. Lotus says nap time spray. Lotus said Randolph Eleanor Hutchins the third, you're a cop. Shouldn't be kidnapping people. Whereas the Pepsi isn't refreshing. I don't like it. I like it, but now I can tell when I've drank too much of it, and I'll need to drink about 3 or 4 waters because I've drank too much. I'm just about at that point tonight, to be honest with you. I really need a water or 4. Lotus said, holy crap, a 100 at a time. Lotus, I thought it was bad. Adam said she used all the names. Yeah, let me go back. Yes, Lotus. They were 79 cents each. And they always had 55-cent coupons on them, so I would cut the 55-cent coupons off, and I would go buy 55 of them at a time. So I was only given like 20 cents for each one of them. So I would buy 100 at a time. And the Pepsi man even give me crates to hold 8, and I had those crates. I built a shelf in my garage and a door, and those crates would go in those doors. And I would have them in them, and I bought 100 at a time. Every time I went to the grocery store, that's what I would do, take those coupons. Stupid thing won't roll. And I would get them, but I was getting them like, around 20 cents a piece for 2 liters. Hey, Lotus said, I thought I was bad. I did that for a long time. Adam said, she used all the names. Darn. Damn. Randy says, I'm not a cop anymore. Daryl sent 100 for 2 jewels. Adam says, you're a poor kidney. I know, right? 52. Thank y'all very much. We got about 5 more minutes here, and then we're going to switch over to Daryl. I will be doing my video and stuff, getting everything ready, but I will have it on for sure. Let's see. Bar said, how old are you so far? 56. Gary says, hello, NDP. Hello, Gary. Y'all remember to hit that like button. We got about 4 more minutes. Adam said, Gary. Randy said, hey, Gary. Jane said, Gary. Daryl said, Gary. Gary says, hello, Adam. Lotus said, good night, all. Good night. Lotus, appreciate you stopping in. Gary said, Randy. Jane said, night, Lotus. Daryl said, Gary didn't say Gary, LOL. Randy said, night, Lotus. Daryl said, Lotus flower. No, he said, see you, Lotus. I've got it on where it translates. That's why I changed it. Gary said, hello, Jane. And Gary says, hello, Mac. Do you remember my Arabic, or should I speak English? English is better because I've got it on translate, but everybody else cannot read your message because they don't have it on translate. It translates on my computer, but it will not on theirs. So, see, I always keep it. And see, that's what it shows. We can't read it here. You could read it, but we can't read it here. But on my computer, I've got it translated. Bacon says, you're bald. Oh, and you're bald. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, while you're at it, will you give me a thumbs up while you're coming in trying to troll, please? Bacon Burner, I appreciate it. I didn't know I was bald, but can you give me a like, please? Nicholas said, hello. Bacon said he's an idiot, but we disagree, Bacon. We think you're a good person. Don't be an idiot. It's okay. Really shouldn't call yourself names. That's not good. Jane said hi, Barbara, and then Jane said hi, Nicholas. Always be friendly to yourself, Bacon Burner. I see you're not going to give me a thumbs up, Bacon Burner. I appreciate it. As nice as a person as you are, I believe you can do it for me. Jane said, I read that. Nicholas said, hello, Jane. And Jane said, take care, everyone. All right, everybody. It's time for Metal Art Customs premiere to start. Anybody wants to keep the conversation going, jump over to Metal Art Customs and give him a like, subscribe, and watch him for a little bit. I do appreciate everybody coming in. Whether you're watching this day, night, or whenever, I do appreciate it. Y'all have a good day and a good night. I'm sorry that you can't hardly understand me, but I understand. I guarantee it's hard. But anyway, y'all have a good day, good night, whenever you're watching this. And remember, everybody, keep it silly. Thank y'all. Yes, I see 53 too, Gary. But it will knock it down to 52 when I cut off of the live. But I appreciate every one of them. I can tell you that. Thank y'all.